we like? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone on the call. My name is Bukola Olasoji, MCIPM, Team Lead Member Care and Database Management for the CIPM. We welcome everyone to the International Women's Day webinar. Thank you for joining the session. Please, let's rise as we take the third stanza of the national anthem. Thank you. First. Thank you. God bless Nigeria. The President and Chairman of the Governing Council, Malam Hamed Ladan Gober, FCIPM, FNLI. The Vice President, Mrs. Chidima Obiejesi, FCIPM. The National Treasurer, Mrs. Ogochukwu Ebuenu, FCIPM. The Registrar Chief Executive, Ms. Oluwatoyin Naiwo, FCIPM. The immediate past president, Mr. Olusegun Mojid, FCIPM, FNLI, the elected council members and other esteemed members of the governing council, our esteemed guest speaker, Mrs. Amina Oyagbola, FCIPM, the founder and chairperson of Women in Successful Careers, WISCAR, and our amiable discussants, Victoria Iba, MCIPM, Neka Jetro Iruebe, ACIPM, Fabian Ogumekon, Advisory Board Member, WISCA, and our dynamic moderator, Ekemini Akpangba, the Executive Secretary of WISCA, esteemed members of our great institute, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome everyone to the International Women's Day webinar organized by CIPM in partnership with WISCAR, Women in Successful Careers. Today, we celebrate the power of women who give their all, grow through challenges, and glow with resilience. Join me as we take the Institute Professional Code of Conduct. If it is safe for you, please, can we rise as we take the Professional Code of Conduct of the CIPM? Thank you. Please, you read after me. The Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria,
That is the Personnel Management of Nigeria,
as the apex regulatory body for human resources management practice in Nigeria,
as the
apex regulatory body for human resource management practice in Nigeria,
is committed to the highest possible standards,
it is committed
to the highest possible standards
of professional conduct and competency
of professional conduct
and competence
among its members.
among its
Therefore,
members.
as a
Therefore,
member of the institute,
member of the institute,
I, please insert your name and membership grade. I, Bukola
Ahmed
Olasoji,
Ladan Gobir, FCIPM,
pledge that I shall at all times
I shall at all times
carry out my duties and responsibilities
carry out my duties and responsibilities
integrity and diligence,
with integrity and
integrity and diligence,
demonstrate competence and ethical behavior,
demonstrate competence
competence and ethical behavior,
in all my business,
in all my business,
professional and personal activities,
professional and personal activities,
respect the laws of the land,
respect the laws of
respect the laws of the land,
promote, encourage, and employs acceptable processes,
promote,
not encourage and in place acceptable processes,
and procedure in the practice of human resource management
and procedures
procedures of human resource management
within my sphere of influence.
within my sphere of influence.
Endeavor to make personal decisions
Therefore, to make personal decisions
considering all options,
after considering our options,
which resignation may be one.
which
which
resignation
resignation
In defense of this code of conduct,
in defense of this code of
of
conduct,
this code of conduct,
where there are conflicts between my professional obligations
where there are conflicts
where there are conflicts between my professional
and
obligations,
the expectations of my job roles.
and the expectations of my
expectations of my job role.
Thank you, everyone. May we all be seated. As we proceed in the webinar session, I would like to invite the President and the Chairman of the Governing Council, Malam Ahmed Ladan Gobir of CIPM FNLI, to deliver his inspiring welcome address. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Bukola. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. The Vice President, Mrs. Chidima Justino DHC, FCIPM, and National Treasurer, Mrs. Ogochukwu Egbuonu, FCIPM, the Registrar and Chief Executive, Ms. Oluwatoyin Naiwo, FCIPM, our immediate past President, Mr. Olusegun Majid, FCIPM, FNLI, elected council members present on the call, and other esteemed members of the Governing Council, our esteemed and very well-respected guest speaker, Mrs. Amina Oyagbola, FCIPM, the founder and chairperson of Women in Successful Careers, WISCAR, our panelists, Victoria Ibawa, MCIPM, Lead HR Business Partner, Production, Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited, Nneka Jethro Irobe, ACIPM, the Happy Employee Coach, Fabia Ogumekon, Advisory Board Member, WISCAR, and our moderator, Kemini Akpafan, Executive Secretary of WISCAR, esteemed members of our great institute, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon all, and thank you so much for joining us today. A few years ago, somewhere in Lagos, a young woman boarded a crowded BRT bus at dawn. She had a laptop in one hand, her dreams in the other, and doubt, of course, was quietly sitting beside her. At work, she was the one who stayed late, the one who had the ideas, and the one who did the work. But when it was time for recognition, her voice was oftentimes missing from the room. Not because she had nothing to say, but because no one had shown her how to say it, where to say it, or even that she could say it at all. Then one day, something happened and something changed. A very senior colleague noticed her work, but most importantly, noticed her potential. This senior colleague gave her an opportunity. She mentored her, and she created a space for her to grow. Several years later, that same young woman stood in a boardroom, not at the corner, but at the center, speaking, leading, and influencing. And today, she is doing the same for others. That in my view, is the power of one person choosing to give. That is the transformation that happens when growth is nurtured. That is what it means to truly glow. If a single act of giving could change a life, if one opportunity to grow will transform a career, if one moment of courage will make a woman glow so brightly that she lights the path for others, then imagine what a room, a nation, or a movement of such women can do. Distinguished guests, esteemed members of CIPM, and representatives of WISCAR, and all participants joining us from across the world today, I say welcome to this special International Women's Day webinar, themed Give, Grow, and Glow. This is not just a theme. It is a call to action. Because in the economy of impact, what we give fuels what we grow. And what we grow determines how brightly we glow. As Maya Angelou so profoundly said, nothing will work unless you do. And today, we celebrate women who do, not just in words, but in action. Our collaboration with WISCAR is a powerful testament to what happens when vision meets intention. WISCAR has remained a formidable force in mentoring and equipping women for leadership. And at CIPM, we are proud to stand alongside an institution that shares our passion for excellence and impact. I am delighted to share that this partnership will soon be deepened through the signing of an MOU between CIPM and WISCAR. This is a milestone worth anticipating, and we encourage you all to look forward to it. Permit me to also reflect on the theme of this webinar through the tones and through the lens of people management. To give is to lead. As Indra Nooyi wisely said, if you want to improve the organization, you have to improve yourself, and the organization gets pulled up you. Giving is leadership in motion. It is the quiet power of lifting others, the intentional act of creating space, and the courage to invest in people beyond yourself. To grow is to evolve. Growth revolves and requires intentionality. Growth demands that we remain students of our craft. At CIPM, we are unwavering in our commitment to ensuring that our members are equipped with the most current, globally relevant knowledge and practices. We will go to any length to ensure that our members receive the very best. Lastly, to glow is to become. To glow is a natural expression of a life that has been poured into and built intentionally. When individuals glow, organizations shine. And when organizations shine, nations prosper. But here is where it becomes even more powerful, more interesting. When we grow a human being in our little spaces, in our teams, our offices, and our organizations, we're not just developing people, we're deploying light. And when each of us commits to giving, growing, and investing in people within our corners of influence, something remarkable happens. One light becomes many. Many lights become a movement. And together, we begin to illuminate the entire systems. Let me also take this moment to reaffirm an important truth. The CIPM remains the only regulatory body for human resource management in Nigeria, established by an act of law, parliament. This positions us as a custodian of standards and professionalism in the HR space. As we often emphasize, anyone practicing HR without being a member of the institute is operating outside the provisions of the law and is in breach of the law. Therefore, if you're on this call today and you are yet to be a member of CIPM, this is your opportunity. We encourage you to engage with us, to join us, and to become part of a forward-thinking community committed to shaping the future of work and delivering excellence. In closing, let me leave you with the words of Malala Yousafzai. She said, "We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. But today, we're not holding back. We are stepping forward. We are giving more. We are growing intentionally, and we are glowing boldly." Thank you all for being part of this powerful and purposeful conversation today. I say Happy International Women's Day. Let us continue to give, grow, and glow. We give to gain. Thank you all very much. Over to you, Bukola.
Thank you so very much for that impactful and thought-provoking welcome address. Thank you. I think I jotted something. Giving is leadership in motion. We glow is to become, to shine, and prosper. Next up, I will yield the floor to our moderator for this session, Mrs. Ekemini Akpankpan, the Executive Secretary, WISCAR, Women in Successful Careers, who will guide us through today's insightful discussions. Honestly, we are set for an empowerment, insightful, and connectful session. Mrs. Ekemini Akpankpa, let's dive into the conversation as I yield the floor to you. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miss Ekemini Akpankpan, like she introduced me. I would like to stand on the already existing protocol. I extend my pleasure and greetings to the leadership of CIPM for creating this opportunity and forging this partnership with WISCAR. At this time, I have the distinguished honor of introducing our keynote speaker for today, Mrs. Amina Oyagbola, FCIPM. Mrs. Amina Oyagbola is a lawyer, independent director, global HR thought leader, gender advocate, author, and business management consultant with over 35 years experience in legal practice and business management in corporate Nigeria. She is a former human resources and corporate services executive at MTN Nigeria. Her career spans HR strategy and transformation, legal consulting, women empowerment, banking and finance, oil and gas, and telecommunications. She's the founder and chairperson, Women in Successful Careers, WISCAR, chair Afrobarometer, Africa's leading research network, managing consultant at AKMS Consulting, business advisory and management consulting firm, and senior partner at Oyagbola Chambers. She is a Chevening scholar. She obtained her undergraduate law degree from Ahmadu Bello University, her master's in law from Trinity College, Cambridge University, and an MBA from Lancaster University. She's an alumnus of INSEAD, Lagos, London Business School, IMD, and Harvard Business School Executive Education. She's a fellow, former chair and advisory council member of the Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa, ALIWA, part of the Aspen Global Leadership Network. She's a member Nigerian Bar Association, member International Bar Association, fellow CIPM, and chartered fellow CIPD UK. She is the first vice president, fellow and member of the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Directors, a certified ethics officer, former chair CIOD Ethics Committee, and member Women Corporate Directors. She's also a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants. In February 2023, she was appointed to the Presidential Council on Support to Women and Girls by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. in recognition of her contribution to gender equality. She has been bestowed several other awards in recognition of her outstanding work, and she serves as a director on several global boards and advisor on several global advisory council. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ekemini, for that very, very warm introduction. And thank you, Mr. President of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. And indeed, thank you very much to all the leadership of the CIPM. It is a singular honor and privilege for me to have been invited to share this platform with all of you. And we don't take it for granted at all. I recognize the Vice President, Mrs. Chidinma Obiejesi, who is here. I also recognize the formidable Registrar and Chief Executive, who is unavoidably absent. I also recognize the National Treasurer and indeed the immediate past President. I would also like to recognize members of the WISCAR Advisory Board here present. Of course, distinguished members of the Council for CIPM, and my fellow HR professionals and leaders across the globe for the amazing work that all of you are doing, to lift your organizations up and to contribute to the development of your countries. Distinguished members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As I said, I'm deeply honored to be here with you today, and very, very proud, of our association, my personal individual association, not just with Mr. President and the entire leadership, but also the association of WISCAR with CIPM. I want to, for that reason, begin by appreciating the Chartered Institute, the apex regulatory body for human resource management in Nigeria, an institution that we're all very proud of and which we all hold in the highest regard, not only for the standards, Mr. President, that you set across our profession, but for your consistent and purposeful partnerships with not just WISCAR, but with many other organizations. We thank you very much for your strategic direction and your insights. And for that very, very warm opening remark, which set the tone very nicely. I think you've actually said it all, but I will do my best, to add to that foundation, very strong foundation that you have very kindly laid. And I want to thank not just all the women that are on the platform, but I want to thank all the very good men, because what it is we're trying to achieve, the struggle and the fight for gender equality, for gender justice, cannot be achieved without, male allyship, male sponsorship, male mentorship, and somebody opening the way for the women and the support that you all give us. So I appreciate all the men who have taken the time to join us this afternoon. And let me dive straight in and talk a little bit about the CIPM and WISCAR partnership. This is a partnership that is grounded in a shared conviction. And the truth is that when organizations invest deliberately in people and collaborate, institutions grow stronger and nations develop and prosper. The WISCAR vision is developing women. It's a simple one, but very easy to remember. Developing women to build a better nation. Mr. President alluded to the fact that you cannot prosper and develop if you leave half of your population behind. The $1 trillion economy that Mr. President has announced and wants to achieve, a simple solution is to just include women. That's a simple panacea, inclusion. So the theme today is an exciting one for me. The theme, give, grow, and glow. Alongside the global call and International Women's Day theme of give to gain, which emphasizes our collective responsibility because it speaks a fundamental truth. And that is the most enduring leadership is not extractive. It is generative. It must be leadership that replicates itself, leadership that multiplies, leadership that touches others and shines the light on others. So it's about developing, it's about achieving results, no doubt, but it's about achieving results through people and developing others as you go along and ensuring that followership, that competent, not just any kind of followership, but competent followership emerges as a result of the leadership that you instilled and grew in others. So giving for me is about, investing. It's about leading so that others, as Mr. President has said, may grow. And in that growth, institutions and societies will prosper. And those individuals and those institutions, beyond prospering, will truly glow. And so this is not a slogan. It is a mandate, essentially, for how we lead, and we all, as HR professionals, we all have influence, and we all have a crucial role to play in this. And leadership, beyond what you do for others, is about also what you do for yourself. You cannot give what you do not have. So you have to also, do what they call govern yourself. And the first rule of governing yourself is really ensuring that you yourself are competent, that you develop yourself, you invest in yourself. So beyond celebrating International Women's Day, and indeed Women's Month, which is very important, it really is. I just want to say a little bit about the significance of International Women's Day and why we mark it. The truth is that it's not very long ago that women in Nigeria even had the right to vote. It was only in 1979, just 1979. So, so it is a global day of significance for us that honors the social, the economic, and the cultural achievements of women, whilst also acting as a call to action, as Mr. President mentioned in the beginning, for accelerating gender parity. But leadership, is not built on commemorative days. It is built in everyday decisions, because International Women's Day or International Women's Month is once a month at the beginning of the year, in March. But what is important is what we do every day. And that is how, leadership is built. It's built around, who we give opportunity to, who is identified as talent, who is developed, who is seen, and who is prepared for leadership, the concept of readiness. And that is where progress really happens. And we HR practitioners and leaders can make a huge difference in this regard. And when I look back at my own career, the truth is that nobody makes it on their own. That was a quote from Oprah Winfrey. Nobody in this world makes it on their own. Somebody has helped somebody. Somebody has invested in somebody. Somebody has shone the light on somebody else. Somebody has opened that door and that pathway for somebody to go through. And when I look at, my own opportunity, my own career, which is now almost 40 years, I can recall a few milestone incidents. The first job, how did that opportunity emerge? Beyond, I wasn't the only competent legal practitioner who went to a good school and who got a good grade. Somebody gave me a note to someone to grant me the opportunity for an interview. I wonder what would have happened if I did not get that note. And why was that note given to me? Because I had also laid a foundation. I had already got my LLB, and I got a good grade, a 2-1. I came out of law school, I was serious, and I got a good grade there. I went for my court attachment, and I was serious about the court attachment. So when I was looking for a job, I could confidently go back to the firm where I did my court attachment. And the principal there was happy to receive me. And even though he could not give me a job because he didn't have a vacancy, he was happy to give me a referral and a note. So he helped me all the same. and essentially acted as a sponsor and a mentor to another firm where I was given the opportunity for an interview to go and acquit myself well at that interview. And at that first interview, I didn't scale through. So you mustn't give up. It's these things, they take effort. So even though I did well at the interview, the final outcome was, unfortunately, we don't have a vacancy. And sadly for me on that occasion, I didn't have a plan B. But again, guess what happened? Somebody visited my home, saw me looking demoralized, and asked the question, "Oh, why are you downcast today?" And I said, I thought I had nailed this opportunity for employment. And unfortunately, even though they said I did very well, they said they had no vacancy. And it was like, you mean you went to Chief Williams' chambers and they did not take you? I said, yes, they said they had no vacancy. It's not that they didn't think I was good enough. And this gentleman took it upon himself to go back to the firm on my behalf. It's not somebody I knew that well. He was a friend of a friend of a friend. But he believed in me. He saw potential in me. And he felt compelled somewhat to take my matter up. And he went on his own. I actually thought it was a fool's errand. He went to the firm again, went to see Chief Williams, who he happened to know very well, and submitted an application for an appeal for a reconsideration of his decision not to hire me, even though he said he had no vacancy. And Chief Williams of blessed memory was amused because the gentleman actually prepared a court brief, as if he was going to file my application in court. And the rest, as they say, is history. And that was how he said, oh my goodness, this Justice so-and-so has spoken to me about this lady. This gentleman who later became a senator, they're both now of blessed memory, also has now come. Okay, ask her to come. We will find space for her. And that was how I started my career journey. Somebody, took a bet on me. Somebody opened the door for me. And along my career, at different checkpoints, different career turns, there were such opportunities created. When I was in banking, after I left legal practice, when I was in banking, with my legal background, I grew, because of my volunteering spirit and my willingness to help others. My portfolio expanded organically into human resource practice, into corporate affairs, and other matters under management services. And I thought I was doing well. I was rising. I was already in mid management. I was a senior manager. And out of the blue, the then managing director tapped me on the shoulder. And when they were doing a restructuring, and said he wanted me to go and head up the second corporate branch of the bank. I was puzzled. I couldn't process it in my mind because I didn't have what they call banking operations experience at the time. I didn't have credit analysis skills. I was at core a lawyer and an administrator at that time. I had never been in marketing. So I found it very odd. So I consulted my husband and I said to him, I really didn't understand this new assignment, and that I hope that I'm not being set up for failure. And my husband said to me, you need to have trusted advisors that you consult. And my husband said to me, he said, you've always spoken well of this boss. He has always, commended you and encouraged you. So I don't think so. Go back and have a deeper conversation with him to find out what has motivated this move. And that was exactly what I did. And he explained to me that he has observed certain attributes, certain qualities based on assignments and small tasks that he had given me that I had delivered on. So if you want to grow and you want to develop, you must first of all perform and deliver optimally on the job, or excellently, not even optimal, deliver excellently on whatever assignment or task that you have in hand. So because I delivered those tasks well, he saw that I had the capacity to do a whole lot more. And he said to me, Amina, don't worry. Don't worry. We will prepare you. We will send you on a crash course in credit and marketing, in operations, and so on and so forth. And that was exactly what transpired. And that was how I pivoted from law, company secretariat, general administration into core banking operations to set up and build a branch that did not even exist from the ground floor, greenfields. And that was when I learned that you can become anything that you wish to become. But the truth is that I never even contemplated such a move myself. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. You know, if he did not mentor me, my boss, if he did not sponsor me, if he did not believe in me and give me that opportunity and provide me the necessary support to succeed in that role, which I'm pleased to say I succeeded exceedingly well. And that sort of opened a whole new vista and opened my eyes and took the scales off my eyes and enabled me to know that really you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. But you just need, what you need to do as an individual within the organization is build relationships, be a trusted follower, supporter, leader, and ensure that your light shines through in terms of competency and capability and the potential that Mr. President spoke about in his opening remarks. So in many organizations, we often speak about growth. Another example, just because I want to make it real, in terms of how I also pivoted, again, was even when because from that New Generation Bank, I moved on to join a very big financial institution, UBA at the time. But then I subsequently pivoted from UBA into Shell. And then the opportunity of MTN came. And again, it wasn't one I looked for. It was one that essentially almost fell on my lap. I was sitting in my office, in Shell at the time when I got a call. I was headhunted. And they saw my CV. And I'm sharing these nuggets with you so that you also pay attention to these small things. So I had paid attention to my CV. I had told my story. Please pay attention to your CV. I had focused on the things that were important to me and the things I had gathered along the path of my career journey. And, whenever, somebody's looking for a job, they always develop a job description, right? And it turned out that my CV was on all fours with all the elements in the job description. And so the head of HR called me, got my number and called me to say that this opportunity, I was at that time not even a letter category staff. In Shell, I was, a grade 2 on grade 2 level, which was quite high. But this opportunity at MTN at the time was at an executive level to be the corporate services executive. So I looked, when he mentioned the opportunity, my instinct again was to say, no, I don't think so. Why? Because I loved the Shell value proposition at the time. And I actually didn't want to leave it. It worked perfectly for me. It worked perfectly for me in terms of the infrastructure and the support I needed around my young family. I had 3 young children at the time. And to be honest with you, I had closed my mind off. I couldn't even imagine a better value proposition. So I said to the gentleman who approached me, I said, oh, well, I'm not really interested, but I will only look at it because Shell has announced that it's changing its footprint and going to close its Lagos offices. So let me look at it. And then I looked at the JD, looked at everything, and I thought, I have 80% of the requirements for the job. I did not have, first of all, I had no knowledge of the telecommunications sector. That's number one. Number two, but that can easily be learned. It was a young industry, 3 years old at the time. Number two, part of the job profile was for me to lead and drive the MTN Foundation, which was very new. And I had no development experience. I had never done anything CSR. But I was able to tick all the other boxes. So I went for the interview. I was encouraged to go for the interview, and I went for the interview. And I met with the then managing director, who is also of blessed memory, great guy. And during the interview, I disclosed that, well, I tick the box at regulatory management, legal, corporate communications, and so on and so forth. But that I had never, I didn't have any CSR experience. But they said, look, we know that you can do it. We know that you can do it. And I have to say that the package was amazing. So that was how I took on that role. Again, I was encouraged by, was it a fellow woman? Have you heard the name of any woman in my journey so far? I was encouraged by men who sponsored me, who mentored me, who encouraged me. And that's part of the reason why I'm so passionate about the work that WISCAR does, because I think it's important that women also need to support other women in this manner. But the truth is that because it's a man's world, we still need male allyship, male sponsorship, male mentorship. And I've been privileged in the course of my career journey to have come across many very good men, many very good male supervisors that have enabled my career. So, growth does not happen by accident. It does not happen without some leader wanting to give of themselves. So giving is not charity, it is a strategy. To give, for me, is to invest deliberately in developing people. And you do that by creating access to opportunity, by making that talent visible, shining the torch on that individual, by, as a HR professional, HR leader, HR practitioner, presenting talent and succession plans and reports to executive leadership and to boards, and making the people agenda a CEO and board priority. It is we, the HR practitioners, that have that mandate and responsibility to help our organizations do that. So we have the responsibility to present the gender demographics and the gender agenda, and to report periodically on progress, because what is announced, what is reported on, will be paid attention to. When you showcase a scorecard of where you are, just like you do with your numbers when you're, giving your quarterly reports, if you're not doing well, you will want to improve. As they say, Nigerians, we know they carry last. So creating awareness also through training, training of not just women folk, but also training of our men to create that awareness, to address the unconscious biases that exist in all of us. And to ensure that when there are cross-functional project opportunities, when there are stretch assignments, you ensure diversity, you ensure inclusion, ensuring also that you offer developmental feedback, speaking for others when they are not in the room. That's what sponsorship and mentorship does. And also ensuring that you don't neglect yourself as a leader. You invest in your own development. So what leaders choose to give and pay attention to, it ultimately determines what organizations and indeed nations become. And I think Mr. President put it, articulated this very nicely when he described that, look, we are those institutions, we the individuals become those institutions. If we shine the light on all of us, then everything glows at the end of the day. So when institutions give intentionally, they build leadership pipelines, and those pipelines build the enduring institutions that become sustainable and that perform and become profitable. So, and I cannot overemphasize the fact that in this our profession, we the HR professionals, this responsibility and this mandate sits squarely with all of us. So it is our responsibility to develop and build those mentorship frameworks, develop and build those leadership, those learning and development plans, in our organizations, and develop them into systems and processes. We shouldn't be waiting on goodwill, where somebody just decides to send somebody on training because they like them or because they're their friends. We need to create the visibility for consistent and unseen talent. That talented individual that Mr. President, told us about in that amazing and very, very inspiring story. We need to institutionalize sponsorship, not just, throw away advice, which has its place, but institutionalize sponsorship as a way of doing things, as advocacy. So at WISCAR, one lesson has remained constant for us over the past 18 years, where we have focused on mentorship, capacity building, and leadership development. And we have, documented and chronicled all our experiences in this book called, the WISCAR mentoring book. And I'd like to encourage you, if you want to know more about how to go about mentorship, wanting to replicate mentorship frameworks, to try and get your hand on a copy of this book, which I'm proud to say has been endorsed by the Ministry of Education. So growth, let's talk about growth. It's not automatic, as I said. It is not a reward for tenure, sitting in a role and waiting. No, it's not about that. Growth happens when you add value. When you is an outcome, and is also an outcome of deliberate development, investing in your own development to build your competencies and your skills so that you can deliver more. And that requires some element of responsibility, both from you as an individual and from the institution. I'm still learning. By the grace of God, I will be 65 this year. I'm still doing an online training program. I'm still thinking about that other AI. We're now in a digital age. I'm thinking about enrolling for, a digital program so that I can skill myself for the world that is here and present, the world in which we operate, we live, work, and play. Whether you like it or not, you have to be digitally fit. So every year, I enroll for courses, and I think deeply about what are those things, what are those areas in which I need to improve, what are those areas in which I need to strengthen, so that I can, ensure that my sword is sharpened, and I can deliver more to my clients. I can deliver and make a meaningful contribution on the boards in which I sit, on the associations that I'm a part of, so that, my experience and my contribution remains relevant and at the cutting edge. So we're talking now about the human ingenuity. That's what we're talking about now in HR. The human ingenuity plus AI. And so you have to ask yourself whether you can describe yourself as truly creative and innovative if you are not digitally fit. So in my career, have learned a simple truth across the 40 years of my career, that hard work only brings you into the room, but it is intentional and continuous learning and development and mentorship and sponsorship that determines whether you will actually remain in that room, whether you will grow in that room, and whether you will lead. And today, the evidence is clear. Organizations with greater gender diversity outperform in profitability, in governance, and in retention. The data shows. I'm chair of Afrobarometer, which is proud to be chair of Afrobarometer, which is the leading research network on the African continent across over 40 countries. The apologies, I've lost my my notes because I'm using I'm back. I'm using my iPad. Yeah, so I was talking about data. So there are so many data points. Afrobarometer data, the Reykjavik Leadership Index, World Bank reports, McKinsey, so many reports, but they all consistently show that Africans, including Nigerians, believe women are equally capable of leadership. So the issue is no longer about cultural belief. I'd like us to jettison that. In God I trust, but please show me the data. The issue really is access. The issue is, structural. It's about systems that are not designed to be inclusive. It's about pipelines not being deliberately built, to ensure that women can emerge and lead. So sponsorship for me is driven by familiarity rather than merit. So to truly grow inclusive leadership pipelines, 3 shifts are required. We need to grow the pipelines, not just, people. We need to grow the pipelines. One-off training does not build leaders. One-off training is useful, but it does not build leaders. You have to deliberately invest in the development of a leader to ensure their readiness to take over and to lead. So, I was involved, when I was, in my previous life, in building CEOs, not just for the locally in country for Nigeria, but developing and building CEOs, across the continent, for ensuring their readiness for deployment to other operating countries. And that was a deliberate process over time to ensure their readiness. We send them for international programs. We send them for local programs. We sent them. We sent them for cross-functional assignments. We send them for cross-functional. One second, please. Pardon me. One moment, please. Somebody is ringing. Please, I'm on a call. Apologies, I'm in a hotel offsite and they were ringing the door, which I found very distracting. So apologies for the break in transmission. So So the pipelines were grown deliberately. And you need to, first of all, identify the potential in these individuals before you begin to invest in them. And typically, you also need to ensure that, look, whilst identifying for potential, you look at your demographic and deliberately build the pipeline, to be inclusive. You mainstream your leadership pipeline to be diverse. So you also need to grow sponsors. Ensure that those sponsors advocate and ensure that the advocacy ensure the advocacy outcomes and changes that you want to see. So you need to grow your sponsors. You need to deliberately grow your mentors. That's what we've done, for example, at WISCAR. We've deliberately grown a mentor pool, and through those mentoring relationships over time, several of those mentors have become sponsors. How have we grown those mentors? Apart from identifying, successful professionals who qualify and meet the criteria to be mentors, we also ensure that, we go through what we call capacity building workshops from time to time with those mentors to identify what concerns they have, what challenges they have, and what we think, and ensure that we share information in terms of what they need to know to become even better leaders than they currently are. You also have to grow accountability. And how do you ensure that? Through measurement, ensuring that, you put in place proper measurement KPIs in your pipeline, which you track, and you track the progress and review that consistently in line with, the outcomes that you wish to see. And as we all know, what is not measured does not get done. So in terms of, let's talk a little bit about visibility as I try and round up in terms of leadership impact. Too often, you find that women are conditioned to see visibility as vanity or as a lack of humility. And culturally and socially, a lot of us have been conditioned, not to raise our heads up high confidently, not to shine brightly. But, the truth is that when giving and growth are done well and with substance, with underlying substance behind it, the impact really should be visible. It should stand out, and it should shine through, and it should be recognized, right? Mr. President, in the beginning, if you were not here, shared a story about somebody who had not been recognized and how eventually she was. So visibility is not self-promotion. It is leadership in action. It signals possibility. It reshapes norms. It enables role modeling, exemplars. It expands what others believe is achievable, or expands what others believed was impossible. And then they now see somebody who has accomplished it, somebody just like them that they can identify with. So it is for this reason that at WISCAR, we are deliberate about celebrating women who do not shrink, with the coveted Distinguished WISCAR Award, which we bestow annually on a deserving female exemplar and professional. Somebody who has, achieved by dint of hard work, and who, beyond achieving and leading and developing themselves, has also given and has grown others and has shone the light on others and put a glow on others. I speak of amazing and phenomenal women, like the first female justice of the Supreme Court, the 13th female justice, Aloma Mukhtar. I speak of women such as Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. I speak of, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Mrs. Amina Mohammed. I speak of Chimamanda Adichie. I speak of Omobola Johnson, Funke Opeke, Obi Ezekwesili, Professor Shade Ogunshola, Ifweko Omoibi, Bola Adeshola, Ayo Obe, and the list goes on and on and on. And it's not because their journeys were easy. If it were easy, we would all do it. But it's because their visibility made the path clearer for thousands of others to follow. These are women who accomplished against the odds. They showed us that it can be done. But for me, the highest form of glow is not individual success. It is the light you ignite in others. That is the shift from success to significance. You do not become a significant individual if you do not give to others, if you do not attempt to build the good society, if you do not enable others. So my word to every woman and to everyone, both male and female, listening to me today, please be intentional about your development. Please be intentional about your progression and your growth. Take charge of your career. Don't leave your career to chance. Excellence is just your foundation, and performing in your role is your foundation, but it is not enough. Build your visibility and your brand deliberately. Be known for something. No matter how small that thing is, be known for it. Be known for being excellent at Excel. Be known for being able to put together fantastic presentations. Be known for being an excellent facilitator. Be known for something you're passionate about, something you are good at, and hone that skill and become excellent at it and be known for it. Join credible networks such as the CIPM, such as WISCAR, and many others, such as the CIOD if you're at director level, to enable access and to meet, professionals that are better than yourself, who you can learn from, who can mentor you, and who perhaps can become your sponsors, and seek those mentorship and sponsorship opportunities out deliberately. Deliver and perform in your current role. When we speak about potential, you must first of all be performing at a very high level in your current role. If you're not already performing, or if you're a poor performer, you will not be said to have potential. It's not possible. So demonstrate. It's when you perform excellently at your current role that your supervisors and other people in leadership and other people in other teams will observe that you have the capacity to do more and will single you out and give you that opportunity, which, essentially is a test run. So position yourself and ensure your readiness before the opportunities arrive. Do not wait until you feel fully ready. That's something that I think, we women, are not too good at. We always want to tick all the boxes and be at 100%, whereas our male counterparts, sometimes I've seen during interviews, they're at 60%. That job, they have 60% of the qualifications, but they'll still apply. And then they'll go to that interview and outshine everybody and get the job. But women, when they don't have 100% of all the requirements, they won't even apply. So please, let me encourage you to throw your hat over the wall or throw your hat in the ring. Make yourself uncomfortable so you can grow. Once you become comfortable, you've stopped growing. You become complacent. Continue to stretch yourself. Continue to go into domains and new vistas where you do not have knowledge so that you can stretch that muscle and acquire that knowledge. And when organizations invest in their female talent, when they give, women will grow. When women grow, institutions strengthen. And when institutions strengthen, nations develop and prosper. So for me, this is not a gender issue. When we have these conversations on International Women's Day, it's not a women's issue. It's smart economics. It's a leadership imperative. It's a competitiveness imperative for your organizations to perform better and to be more profitable. It's a nation building priority for our country to be lifted up and for us to take our place as a nation in the Committee of Nations on the globe. So in closing, because of time, I'd like to make a call to action. WISCAR was founded on a simple but powerful conviction that when women are developed to lead, institutions perform better and nations govern better. So 18 years on, with over 17,000 women impacted and touched from our programs and strong institutional partnerships, such as the one we're embarking on with CIPM and other organizations, that conviction has only deepened. So the question before us today is not whether women can lead. That question, as I say, has long been answered and settled. The real question is, will we build the necessary systems and processes that enable women to lead consistently, sustainably, and at scale? CIPM is uniquely positioned to answer yes, in quotes, to that call and to mean it. Because the people management profession holds the architecture of opportunity across organizations. And when that architecture is intentionally inclusive, the impact multiplies beyond any single initiative and replicates. So my final charge is a quote from Desmond Tutu, who reminds us that do your own little bit of good where you are. Do your own little bit of good where you are. It is those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. So let me leave you finally with this. Give so that others may grow. Give so that you will gain. Because if you don't open your hand to give, nothing can enter. Grow so that institutions may glow. Glow so that those who come after us begin further ahead than we did. I want to wish all of us happy International Women's Day, happy Women's Month. I want to thank most sincerely from the depths of my heart, Mr. President and the leadership of the CIPM for granting me this opportunity to share this platform with you all today. And I want to thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Oyagbala, for those rousing remarks. You have really raised the bar this evening for us, raised the energy in the room. There has been so many takeaways. Thank you so much, Mom. For me, I was thinking, I'm now sitting up. Please put an emoji in there if you're sitting up like me, because when I got in here, it has been a roller coaster Women's Month at WISCAR. But this is that moment where this is how we sit up at WISCAR, basically. Thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to always share, to always mentor, to always inspire, and for always giving yourself to it through WISCAR as an institution, but more importantly, as a person, embodying inspiration. Thank you so much. I took a lot of notes. She has said everything useful to everyone at different stages of their career, from governing yourself and also knowing that excellence And, just being basic good at your job is not enough. You should be known for something. So thank you so much. We've learned a lot. It's a whole masterclass, and I see a lot of people asking for the recording, and I hope that can be shared later on with them. So with this, we're going to dive right into the panel session. The bar has been raised for us. I really hope that we can top this and maintain the momentum in the room. I am going to be joined by distinguished panelists. And the topic, in case you're just joining us now, is Give, Grow, and Glow. I'm going to be joined by Mrs. Fabia Ogumekong, who is a WISCAR Advisory Board member. She actually once led WISCAR. She is a lawyer and development consultant with over 22 years of experience and has consulted for several global organizations, including UN Women. And her work essentially contributes to policies and practices that shape women's human capital development. I'm also going to be joined by Mrs. Neka Jethro Irobe, CIPM. She's widely known as the Happy Employee Coach. Her track record spans employee experience, organizational advisory, several years. And before founding her organization, she spent 16 years at KPMG, and her work sits at the intersection of performance, fulfillment, and workplace transformation. We are also going to be joined by Mrs. Victoria Ibawa, who is a lead HR business partner, production at Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited, CIPM. She is a seasoned HR leader with over 20 years of experience transforming organizations through people. That was one of the things that piqued my interest from her LinkedIn. Her career spans global institutions, including Shell and Deloitte, and she works on enabling career growth for professionals and progress and enabling them progress at scale. So we're going to get right into the conversation. Like I said, Give, Grow, Glow, and very importantly, this platform enabled by WISCAR and CIPM. I work at WISCAR, so I tend to say WISCAR first. WISCAR and CIPM we serve as those critical voices for workplace and women. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to start with a few opening questions that I'll just like the panelists to respond to. I'm going to be calling on Mrs. Victoria Ibawa. Looking back on your journey, which of these, giving, growing, and glowing, has been most defining for you, and why?
Thank you very much. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you. I think before I answer that, I want to thank CIPM and WISCAR. Thank you for this opportunity. And I must really say that both the speech from our president and the keynote speech from Madam Oyagbola has just been mind-blowing. I took so much notes, and I was saying to myself, what else do we have to say? But obviously, we have a few of our own experiences. I can see Mrs. Ogume also smiling at what I just said. It's been amazing, an amazing session so far. So, I think for me, it's been a combination of giving and all three of them, growing and glowing, because across my career, I can think about different experiences, really, and maybe I should just start with the giving bit of it. Recently, I've had to share a lot of the people who've worked with me in their careers, and just sharing their growth stories. I've had some of them receive recognitions that have been mind-blowing, and I keep posting, and people are like, oh, you seem to be so proud of these ladies. So 10 years ago, some of them 15 years ago, I knew how we started, and it's a lot of just coaching, mentoring, even when we've left, the environment where we work together, but consistent follow-up, just checking on them and them reaching out for every career stage. And sometimes I jokingly tell them, you guys have the bigger names now, but I can look back, and see the impact of what that has done. It also gives a sense of fulfillment as well. Opportunities that have come my way, and that have, we heard a lot around performance, we've heard a lot around visibility. We've also heard a lot around hard work. In terms of my growth and the opportunity to grow, to glow, one of the outstanding moments for me was, back some years ago when I had an opportunity to become, the HR lead, HR senior manager, HR for one of the big four firms at the time. And what had happened was I was in my space as the learning lead, just doing my job well, getting ready for the next year, and then got a call, from the CEO to say, what's our plan for next year? This was in December. He just calls me to say, Victoria, I want to see your plan for 2014, because this was in 2013. And, because I'd been prepared, I'd done my work, prepared what I needed to do. I went in not knowing it was an interview, so, I'd grown over the years, was ready, diligent, showed him what the plan was. And then January 27th, there are key moments in your career that you can never forget in terms of dates. He calls me into his office to say, that call we had in December, it was actually an interview. I'm going to be announcing you as the acting head of HR. And, like they say, the rest is history. That was a defining moment. But that opportunity to glow was an outcome of the growth I have had over the years in my career, from banking to professional services, and then to the point where I was. So for me, I really cannot pick any one and say this is standing out, but at different phases, I can see how all three have impacted my growth and impacted my career till date. And I'll continue to say that they continue to make that consistent impact for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. It's good to hear that all three, you're essentially putting it into practice. I would still want to hear about the glow part, and I would like to come to you, the happy employee coach, to say, what does it mean for women to glow in today's workplace beyond visibility, especially as the guest speaker has spoken about impact? How can women demonstrate real impact?
Thank you very much. And I'd like to stand on existing protocols, right? And to say thank you to CIPM and WISCAR for inviting me here. I really like that we added something to this one. The theme is give to gain, but we added now glowing, right? And for me, that's just beautiful because every woman knows how we feel like when we are made up, nice outfit, the hair is done. It's something that we truly enjoy. Somehow, just you can be in a bad mood, but get her a new outfit, get hair done, makeup done, and suddenly there's a spring to her step, right? So I think that the aspect of glowing is really critical. In the workplace, I see one area where we overlook and underestimate its power to help us glow. We overlook and underestimate the impact of this area to help us glow. And it is in teaching others what we know. I say this over and over again. If you truly want to enjoy yourself at work, if you truly want to be recognized and be valued at the maximum level possible, invest in people. Just get intentional with being that person that when someone new joins, you explain to them the lay of the land. I said explain, not poison, and forgive me, as a happy employee coach, I tend to teach these things often because some people in the name of, getting allies, you just begin to tell people things that are not true about work or negative things. I'm saying be intentional with helping them settle in. Be intentional with telling stories of growth. Be intentional with sharing what you know. It could be as simple as you are in a meeting with both of you's boss, both of you's manager, and the manager gives you feedback. Go the extra mile to share the feedback with this person that's in your team and say, hey, I met with the manager on this project. He said this, she said that. So I think in the next one you're doing, take note of XYZ. So I think when it comes to glowing, there's ease of opportunity for us there. And as women go through the various seasons of life that they go through, life throws all sorts at us, right? It's someone said it's not lemon and lemonade. It's when you get pepper, make pepper soup, right? So it's really a conversation of how do I show up beyond what it is that I'm going through? right? For glowing. How do I make sure that when people see me, when I walk into the room, I walk in like someone that matters? Because I do matter. I think it's really important for women to understand that you matter in the room. You deserve a space in the room. And when you walk in, you should walk in carrying yourself like, I do have something to say, I do have something to contribute, and I do matter. Those are the two things I would share with respect to glowing, for us as women in the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of practical points there. Join the workplace and spread the right word. And then also how you show up in terms of you don't have to put the load of all the things you're going through mustn't, be reflecting. I would like to come back to you, Ms. Ogumekong. When you hear give, grow, glow, how do you interpret it beyond personal development? Like the happy employee coach has spoken about, particularly within organizational and leadership context.
Okay, thank you very much, Kemini, and thank you to the organizers of this event. It's been really, really insightful so far and very inspirational. So give, grow, glow. For me, give first. I would say, and I think we've alluded to it quite, in different ways, but for me, giving means to give your best work. And I think that Mrs. Oyagbala in her speech in her talk, referenced severally the importance of being excellent. And I think that that's how we give, one of the ways in which we give. So to give is to give your best work, to put your best foot forward, to show up with your full scale of both your technical capacities and all the other resources that you bring to the workplace. To give also means to mentor. And of course, WISCAR, we are a mentoring organization and we hold mentoring very dear. So giving to others, and I think it was Neka that just spoke to that, the importance of giving, right? So giving to others, mentoring the next generation coming up after us, and even those within the workplace. So giving, putting your best foot forward, showing up with your full self at work, so your technical capabilities, but other things as well, your passions, bringing your passions to work beyond your technical capabilities, and also showcasing those talents as well. And of course, mentoring and collaborating to deliver excellent results. So that's the way we give. To grow, again, is a deliberate value creation. That's like looking at value creation. So mentoring also falls into that as well. But now it becomes not just mentoring, perhaps at an informal level, but something more structured. Collaborating across functions, again, for delivering excellent results that will move the organization forward. But I think more importantly, when I think about growth, it's that intentionality of oneself and taking, like we've heard, your career into your own hands, right? Ensuring that you're doing the right training programs, that you have a plan, either working with your HR or your own personal development plan for how you want to move forward every year, right? Or every quarter, or however it is you measure your own growth. Being intentional about making sure that you are not staying in the same place, you're not stagnant, you are actively putting the things and resources required to move yourself to the next level. So for me, that is what growth is. Growth is actually the investment stage in your career. And then glow is the outcome stage, where all of the work you've put in from the giving to the growing now, begins to make sense. And at the glow stage, we're looking at yourself now becoming almost like a credible influencer, a voice. Again, Mrs. Oyagbala spoke to the importance of being known for something. So it's important to be technically sound, but sometimes you're not even known for that technical soundness, right? Because in an organization that's a high growth organization, there are many people who are technically sound. That's like a base level of expectation. So sometimes what you're known for might not even be that. It might be within the passions that you bring. You're a great organizer. You're, good with putting events together, either big events or small events, or whatever it is that your passion is. Being known for something and being seen as an influencer, a voice in the space, a voice for your sector. And now being in a position to inspire others, right? So while, yes, in your giving and your growth stage, you may have been participating in mentoring, whether informal or formal mentoring, at that glow stage, you are now in a position of sponsor, right? You're in a position for speaking up for other people. At your give and glow stage, people probably are speaking for you in rooms where you are not. That's all part of the growth phase. At the point where you are glowing, you are now in that position where you're not only mentoring, but you're also beginning to also speak up for others. So you are seen as a sponsor, you're seen as that leadership voice, that authentic voice. You are seen to be driving business success, driving business decisions. And essentially, when we glow, it's how we turn, we move from just potential and performance into really participating in leadership. So for me, that is the give, that is the grow, and that's the glow.
Thank
Why are you
you so
laughing,
much.
Ekemini?
Thank you. That's very enlightening. I'm laughing because it looks like you've spoken. This like the panel has almost come to an end because we've sort of learned, everything we need to learn about how to grow from being a technical person that is beyond that your technical, expertise. Are you known for it? And then going up to being a sponsor and influencer. And thank you so much. Really delightful. I'm going to
I can
go
assure you we
now.
have more to say. The panel isn't over.
Yes, I totally agree. And I'm going to go now to speak, to allow us to speak individually, especially to bring our experience at the different sectors, different spaces we work in. So I'm going to start with the happy employee coach. I'm saying that not because I don't want to call your name, but because it just really sticks. You're known for something. You're exemplifying what we're talking about, and I really love that. So you transition from being an unhappy employee to building a platform around workplace fulfillment. So how can women give meaningfully at work without losing themselves in the process?
Thank you very much. Without losing ourselves, I think that's one area that as women, we kind of keep going over and over again. And this may sound contrarian, right? But I feel like sometimes if we're not careful, we can adopt something that seems to be popular and take it as our own reality and just name it for ourselves. The day I found this quote by Lolly Daskal that says life is not about finding ourselves, but about creating ourselves. It hits me. And it was like somebody in my, somebody had just crafted words, giving words to something that I truly believe in. That sometimes we think that something is missing, but maybe we're just shedding weight, shedding skin to evolve differently. And I think that's the way I'd like to say it, right? To say that sometimes we go through, no, all the time, I think women go through different seasons in life. And it's seeing it as a space where I am evolving, I am shedding skin. So at this stage in my life, for example, if I have young children, right, what is important to me at this time? If I'm not married yet, what is important to me at this time? What am I giving time to? Right? I think it's really critical when we try to answer this question of whether we're losing ourselves or finding ourselves. So I want every woman listening to come to that place where they feel like I am creating me. And this me is an evolving project. It's like the evolution of the world, evolution of man, and we're just discovering more and more greatness from me. Speaking to my transition, I think that one of the things that hits me, and becoming the happy employee coach, was once when I must have been in my second or third year in the firm at the time, and somebody said, people were complaining, the salary is this person said that, and a senior colleague, right, Ifeoma Bogo, she said, but nobody put a gun to your head to be here now. And it just hits me like this same job that, forgive me, you gave testimony about. Maybe you rolled on the floor and raised your hand. Suddenly, now becomes a pain point. And many of us don't realize how much the human mind embraces the negative and how growing up is for you to be intentional to embrace the positive. A research I saw said that it takes 5 positive events to nil out the impact of one negative event, right? So the intentionality to say, hey, everyone on this call, and anyone can say it's not true. Nobody on this call as a career person, a business person, spends less than 70% of their waking hours at and around work. I say this every time where I speak. You are either in the work, going to it, coming from it, complaining about the salary, whether it's taking you home or to the bus stop, talking about how the manager is the worstest, forgive me, in the whole wide world. So our lives revolve around work. When you come into that consciousness, then you now have to turn on your agency to craft your happiness at work. And that's what happened for me. And I am passionate about it happening for everybody, to show you that you can actually sit down and say, this place that I spend a huge portion of my life at, I can't afford to leave it to chance. I must be intentional to craft my experience here. And women in particular, please turn on your agency. When you come into the workplace, sit and say to yourself, how do I enjoy myself? How do I set boundaries? How do I accept that I am a woman? I have responsibilities. There's time of the month when my body is doing me in a way I may not necessarily like. How do I own that, right? So I hope this kind of provides that context, for that transition from being unhappy, and calls on anyone listening to say, you can be happy at work. You deserve to be happy at work. Just learn the mechanics around that. Thank you.
Very interesting perspective. Your life revolves around work, and you even put a percentage to it, 70%. Very, very interesting. And I like that you have shared that. And I already have a question, which I believe everybody's going to ask. How can women turn on their agency? But it's not yet Q&A time. So I'm going to go to the next person. Question for our lead HR business partner at Renaissance Africa Energy. So your work right now suggests that growth is not linear. It's something you say a lot. Don't worry, Nigeria happened. And you always say growth is not linear, right? How can women, what does this mean? How can women think about growth at different stages of their career without it, seemingly linear?
Thank you very much. So when you say you always say, it's interesting because I actually do say that. But another way that I always paint that is that no two career journeys are the same. So it's important that as women, and maybe even as generally as professionals, because I respect the fact that we have some male allies, on the call as well. Owning your career, just understanding that your journey is unique to you, and just taking a bit of what Nneka just shared. Okay, the happy employee, could just shared around, just understanding your own season and who you are. But in terms of just taking the growth pattern that we go through as professionals, and specifically as women, two things I want to first say is that you need to be very intentional, understand that your career seasons are also multidimensional. Another thing is also the fact that everybody has a different context to their career growth. So as you start your career, I'm going to make it as broad as possible, considering the different, individuals that we have on the call. The first thing to understand is in the growth stage, where in my book, Maximizing Your Career Seasons, I attempt the season of exploration. Really, at that point, you are building breadth. You're taking on roles, saying yes to opportunities, and also just understanding your strengths. You get to the season of growth, mid-career, you're building depth. It's important that as women, we're intentional to know what's required for each season. At the season where you're growing your mid-career, most likely in your 30s, you're saying to yourself, who knows me? Who understands what I do? Because many times, the conversation is always around, yes, I want to build my career as a woman, but the organization is not giving, the platform. Or sometimes some people will say, should we always put it on the women, to just break through the ceiling? Shouldn't there be somebody opening the doors? Yes, it's a combination of different things, but owning your space, it's important that you understand what is required for each level. When we listen to our keynote, speaker, our special guest, when she spoke about the different experiences and the capabilities that she had gotten over the course of her career. So when she was called for those opportunities, they didn't just call her because she was visible. They called her because she had sustained performance over time, but also combined with visibility, combined with people who were exposed to the level of work and the capacity that she had. You know, at some point she said, somebody, even when she was doubting, you know, the response was, we know you can do it. So at that point, you're very intentional to say, who knows what I'm doing? So as you go into establishing yourself, maybe in your 40s, depending on how life, you know, meets you and your unique trajectory, it's important. This is where positioning is extremely critical. So at this point, you're saying, in the organization, does my voice matter? You know, it's about impact. It's about shaping culture. It's about understanding the rooms where what you say matters, even in rooms where you cannot be in. It's understanding that there has to be somebody in that room who understands the value that you bring, who can mention your name in positions, you know, in situations that matter. And I also say that there's some of us who are also, you know, at levels or maybe at stages in our career that we think, okay, I've gotten to this point, and what's in it? What more? I'm just looking forward to retirement. At this point, you know, you can either pivot, you can, you know, even if it requires slowing down, at this point, you're also looking back to say, what kind of impact do I want to leave? What kind of legacy do I, you know, want to leave? Again, I'll take this beyond the individuals to now look at organizations. Many times, it's not about performance alone. It's about the context. It's about the environment that these women are working. So what sort of opportunities are we intentionally creating for women? What sort of pipelines? Because many times when women want to get those opportunities, but the people who are there, we talk about the numbers of women, you know, in leadership. Many times the like me bias would always, you know, reduce the opportunities for women, not because the men or the male allies are not intentional or willing. It's just a bias. You know, I want somebody who's outspoken, somebody who will stand up, somebody who is not limited, you know, or impacted by other, you know, personal responsibility. I've been in a room where, you know, it was many years ago, there was a conversation around a particular manager who was supposed to be moving up to the next level. And, you know, there were concerns. If you look at it, if you x-ray those concerns, you would think that they were genuine concerns. The concern was, oh, she has 5 children. She's not able to, we can't give her this job because it would mean a lot of travel. Sometimes it will mean, you know, going into, you know, an unknown territory. She might need to leave her children. She had a baby 2 years ago. She had a child who, you know, special needs child. And I was the only female in the room. And I asked, the question was, have we asked her this question? You know, so it's also playing it back to the organization. So yes, women will thrive. Yes, we'll work on visibility. Yes, we'll work on being intentional about who knows us. You know, yes, we'll work on mastery. We'll work on just being out there, showing the value that we have. But women need that, you know, intentional investment, you know, by the organizations, by people in leadership to say, what do we have? What kind of special, you know, work circumstances? And again, when I use the word special, I don't mean that we should give opportunities where people are not deserving. These experiences that women go through, they're natural, you know, expectations of life. So how do we create flexible work environments? How do we intentionally have sponsors for women who have shown the value that they can bring? How do we assign male sponsors, intentionally assign, without leaving it to the women to always be the ones to say, okay, I want you to be my sponsor? How do we, you know, just curate a structure so that as we grow, because, you know, like one of the things that when Madam was speaking, she did say,
got you.
oh,
I'm
okay,
gonna
sorry.
have to cut you, please.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
so
you.
please hold your thought.
Yeah.
Yes, because you're already speaking to some of the areas that I would like
Oh, sorry.
Fabienne to speak to.
Sorry
No
about
problem
that.
at
Thank
all.
you.
No problem. It's fine. I would like to
I'm
take
good with that.
Mekong. Yes, yes, Shish. I just also wanted you to bring your perspective. You know, because we're going to need to begin to round up the panel session. You've been in the corporate sector and then you transition to the development sector. What do you think organizations can do? Like she was starting to talk about those structural issues. What can they do to convert talent into leadership pipelines? Women in that talent pool specifically.
Okay. So I will start with mentoring because that's what we do really well at WISCAR. And that is, you know, definitely one way in which institutions can be intentional about converting, you know, great talent into the leadership pipeline. But I think with mentoring, it's also the way that we do it, right? It's how you do it that will, you know, determine how successful, you know, any mentoring program that you embark on how it will deliver for you. So, of course, we know that mentoring can be formal or it can be informal. And for organizations and institutions, certainly it is the more formal and structured mentoring that, delivers on the results. Because with informal mentoring, that's an informal arrangement and it's not being tracked, it's not being measured, and there's no way to sort of really keep accountable, especially when it comes to organizations. And I think that the way that WISCAR does it is certainly a model that can be emulated, across organizations. And if I can speak a little bit about the WISCAR model and what makes it so successful and has been successful, obviously, for the last 18 years, I think one of the core parts is the idea of purposeful matching. And of course, women come into wanting mentorship either from a career development perspective or from a personal life development perspective. And so, we look at that. And so any good structure that really wants to succeed at mentoring and wants to, develop a proper mentoring program should start with the why. Why are these people, what are we trying to achieve with these people? And why are these people, why do they need mentorship? And what do they need out of mentorship? And I think that that's really important. But going back to the individual, I think it's also important that we ensure that, again, it's the people who are investing in these structures are actually right for the opportunities, right? So you want to make sure that those who are within that pipeline of going through mentoring actually are ready. They want it, because we cannot want it more. You cannot want something more for an individual and the individual wants it for themselves. So those who are to be mentored need to be ready. They need to want to do it. And those who are going to be fielded as mentors need to be ready to give, to listen, and, to really help shape these careers into, and make sure that we're actually grooming for the talent pipeline. So purposeful matching is really, really important, making sure that we're pairing the right people together. And of course, supporting that system, building the structures to enable that system to function. So continuously supporting the mentor and the mentee in that process, tracking progress, ensuring that their outcomes and goals that are put on the table that are being tracked, periodically, right? So, ensuring that goals are set, personal development plans are developed, and we are hitting on those milestones. And of course, after all of that is done, is the idea of sponsorship, making sure, like I think the last speaker just said, that there are opportunities to actually position women into, and that comes into, sometimes it comes up as cross-functional opportunities. So moving, because to be a leader is growing out of just technical capabilities into the ability to have a bird's eye view over every aspect of the organization, and then being able to bring, yes, your technical competence forward, but, really being able to understand different parts of the organization. So creating those opportunities, those stretch opportunities, as I would call them, for those within the mentoring pipeline to experience. And if I speak from a personal perspective, I've had quite a lot of those stretch experience, working as a group legal, executive at a healthcare company. I literally had to move, go outside of my role as being the executive lead for legal and regulatory to moving 130 plus staff out of of a premises where we were into new premises within a specific period of time, finding the right premises, then executing on the design, and then moving, all I think within 6 weeks. Now that was a stretch project for me. That's but then it showed sort of my project management capabilities, and that sort of then leveraged me for other functions outside of just group legal. So many examples like that, even managing our conferences at WISCAR and bringing in ex-presidents, and just managing the whole protocol attached with that. These are stretch projects. So, creating those opportunities and, for stretch projects. So structured sponsorship. So how can institutions intentionally design pathways? So I would say, structured sponsorship programs, executive readiness programs that are tracked, so coaching as well, so beyond mentoring, coaching, and ensuring that there's opportunities for sponsorship, and of course rotational leadership programs. And these apply whether it's in a corporate sector or it's in the development sector. So ensuring readiness and then building those structures. And I think Mr. Agbala also referenced, and I'll stop there, the idea of being these initiatives being backed, because that's the only way they will be sustainable, being backed by the highest leaderships in organizations, ensuring that from the CEO to, and then that comes down to the HR function, and then across various management lines, that these ideas of mentorship, sponsorship, and the fact that we are building talent to succeed, to sustain, and become the next level is very important. So that buy-in from the most senior leadership. And finally, I would say institutions also signing up to global principles that also keep them on track. So, for example, at WISCA, we promote the UNGC UN Women Empowerment Principles. So signing up to global principles like that also help us to keep on track, to understand that this whole idea of preparing women for leadership, but also ensuring that there are opportunities for them to lead and keeping ourselves accountable isn't just a nice to have, but that there's a business case already sort of built for that to happen. So I hope that I've spoken to your question.
Thank you. You have spoken to my question, and I think you've addressed many of the questions that I already wanted to raise to the other panelists. What I would like to do now is ask if there are any questions in the Q&A, and maybe we can take one or two and then wrap up. Esther, are there any questions, or how can I find them? If there are no questions, we can just wrap up. Okay, I don't think there are any questions. I think what I would just like to do is let every panelist just share in one line, one final thoughts that you would like to say to everyone, so that we can just move on. And in that, I would like you to answer the question, when you talked about turn on your agency, what did you mean? So if you can just use that to wrap up as you're speaking. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Emily. So again, I like what Fabia shared around structure and what we should be doing as organizations. We'll talk about turning on your agency. For me, is first of all understanding and agreeing that it's possible to be happy at work, right? I think that that's just the first thing. Agreeing that it's possible. I tell people that when I first became,
Yes, I said let it be brief. Final thoughts.
okay, yes. When I tell people, when I change my name to become the happy employee coach, one of the things that people used to say was, "Are we supposed to be happy at work?" And I wondered, why would you not be happy at work, right? So I think for me, the final thought would be, dear woman, you deserve to be happy at work. You can't be happy at work if you turn on that agency by changing how you show up, watching who you are following, right? So follow stories of possibilities for yourself. Get intentional with doing that. And cheers to you truly enjoying yourself at work. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll come to you, Victoria.
Thank you very much. It's been an amazing time for me as well, taking quite a lot of notes. I think I'll wrap up with just 3 keywords that I cuts across the different conversations we've had today. One is performance. We've heard about hard work. Every time you want something to be different for you, show up well and show up with quality. The other bit that matters in the place of work as you grow as a woman, especially, is perception. So those who know you, what they think about you will matter when they want to take decisions for you. And then the final thing I have is presence. Yes, people have an idea, but you need to continue to show up. So those are the 3 key things I'd like to leave with people. 1 is your performance. Number 2, perception, intentionally building the right perception with those that matter, those who will take decisions. And then finally, showing up, whether it's good, bad, internally and also outside of the workplace. Consistently showing up will make sure that when the time comes, you are top of mind for those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then Fabia, final thoughts.
Okay, so oops, sorry, my screen. Yeah. So for me, if we want more women to not just grow, but to actually, reach leadership positions, first of all, individuals must learn to own their own positioning. Ask for the help that they need, the support that they need from the organizations. They must want it. They must have the right mindset for it. And then organizations must replace good intentions with structured systems and metrics for accountability. And then I would say just the broader system, the broader culture must continuously be challenged by leaders so that, again, we know that, having a gender balanced leadership is not just about CSR or a nice to have, but it's actually a good business imperative. And in that sense, work to ensure that these three pillars, the individuals, the organizations, and the structure and the culture of the organizations work together to move us from just conversation to actually getting things done.
Thank you so much. But I was just about to wrap up, but my attention has been drawn to the fact that we need to answer the questions. So there are two questions here. How do you get the confidence to begin a new career in a different city after being in a company for a long time? So I would like you to take that question, Victoria. And then I also like to, the other one is, what are the specific attributes you look out for when pairing mentors and mentee? Can a female mentor really mentor a male mentee? And I think Mr. Ogumekong, I'd like you to take that.
Okay, could you just quickly take that question again? I just want to be sure I got all the parts.
How do you get the confidence to begin a new career in a different city after being in a company for a long time?
Okay, new career in a different city, assume that you're doing something completely different from what you were doing before. Because if you say new career, it's not just a different city. I think the first thing is to say that there's almost nothing that we can learn. Again, I keep referring to the Madam Oyagbola's speech when she talked about being, thrown into a new, completely different part of, career. The first thing is your growth mindset. The ability, knowing that you have the ability to learn. The other thing is that I will say is look for people who've been there. Those who've done it before in that city, outside of that city. And one of the ways you can do that is the associations that you join. Some other ways you can do that is on LinkedIn. Check the profiles of people who look like they're thriving in that career. Check what they've done at the different, I talked about career seasons. At the different seasons of their careers, what did they do? And then you can reach out, volunteer, with such people, such associations, and begin to connect. The other thing I would say, which is critical, is get a mentor. Mentors are people who have gone ahead, they've seen it, they've done it, they've been there. And so the mentor is able to tell you, just like somebody who's seen a movie, I can tell you the end because they've done it. So check out people who are mentors. And again, because this is completely new for you, you need to be careful about who you choose as mentors. It's not just about performance, it's about your values as well. It's about the person aligning with the kind of story that you have. So a mentor who has who doesn't just know the work, but also sort of had your own career profile is able to understand what your unique situation is and help you. And I think the last thing I would say is put everything that you have heard here together, about your visibility, about the quality that you build, burn the candle, just keep learning and then show up. Don't wait till you have everything, opportunities to share what you've learned, opportunities to ask questions, intelligent questions, and ensure, one thing that will also, fast track your growth is who knows what you know. Who knows what you know? So opportunities to speak up, opportunities to also share your outside-in experience that you can bring to that new world, because there would always be something that you can bring into impact, and they can look at you and say, okay, yes, there's something different that this person brings to the table. Finally, it's just really believing in yourself that you can do it. I think if you put all this together, you should be off to a good start.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really, really helpful. Over to you, Mr. Ogumekong.
Yes, can you just clarify the question again, please?
Okay, so the person was asking, sorry, please, let me just go. What are the specific attributes to look out for when pairing mentors and mentees? Can a female mentor really mentor a male mentee? And I guess vice versa.
Okay, so yeah. So really, to keep it simple, most of the time when people are looking for mentors, it's either to move their careers forward, or they want something to do with life and life journeys, right? And so finding the right mentor for within a pool of mentors, if it's a structured system, is really about looking at what does the person want. The person who is looking for mentoring, what is that goal that they're trying to achieve? And of course, as you know, in WISCAR, for example, there's some specific questions that you're required to answer when you're filling the forms of becoming a mentee. You talk about your career aspiration, you talk about your life journey, and it's in that information of the specific goal that you're looking to achieve through the mentoring journey that's the idea of purposeful matching takes place. And then the idea of can a female mentor? Anybody can mentor anybody. A female can mentor a male can mentor a female, especially if it's from the perspective of career and technical competence. Then that can be open to both females and males, and vice versa. Because and the most important thing I would say in that sort of relationship is the structure, the idea of safeguarding, making sure, and that's what the structure does. The structure ensures that there's a safeguarding in place to, protect for any untoward situations that may happen in the relationship imbalance between mentor and mentee. But once those structures of, and safeguards are in place, then anyone can really mentor anyone, especially when it's career and technical. So that's what I would contribute.
Thank you so much. There's
And
one
if you want to
final-
know more, buy the WISCAR mentoring book. Lots of
Thank
information in there.
you. Thank you. There's one final question, but it's for the keynote speaker. I said, in your remarks, you mentioned that much of your career growth was supported by men. In many workplaces, it's often observed that some women do not actively support one another and may even feel threatened by the emergence of other women in the same space. This sometimes creates an environment where collaboration is limited. From your experience, how can women effectively navigate and overcome this dynamic while still fostering professional growth and positive relationships?
Okay, well, first of all, let me just really applaud the excellent panel. Really enjoyed listening to all your amazing contributions. So thank you all very much indeed. And thanks again to CIPM for this awesome platform. Look, it's not about women not supporting other women. That is a myth that I debunk all the time. And I think the WISCAR organization is a fantastic example, and many other women's organizations. I'm also part of a coalition which involves WIMBIS, WILAN, and other formidable female organizations. And we all support each other and collaborate. The reality is that where something is scarce, right, then there's naturally competition for it. If you are at a bus stop in London and you know that with regularity, the bus is going to come every 15 minutes, and there's a crowd of 10, 20 of you waiting at the bus stop, then you're not likely to scramble and run and push people to get onto the bus because A, that you're likely to get onto the bus, and B, even if you don't get onto the bus, if it is full, that in 15 minutes time, another bus will come along. But if you are in Oshodi and in Lagos, and you've been waiting at the bus stop for 2 hours, and a downfall comes along, with all the grace that I have and the good behavior that has been instilled in me as a parent by my parents, I think I'm likely to position myself, tie my belt, and rush and scramble to get onto that downfall because I don't want to be waiting there for another 2 hours. And I'm not even sure that in another 2 hours, another bus is likely to come. And if it happens to be raining as well, then that makes the picture even worse. So where am I going? If you look at the demographic and the statistics around women in leadership, where are we? We've made some progress, right? But, we're still at 16.7% of, national ministerial portfolios. We're at only 2 out of 36 states have gender balanced state executive councils. At the corporate level, for publicly listed companies, we're at 31.1% on the NGX. I was at the NGX a week or so ago to ring the bell, and that was really amazing. And then, in corporate Nigeria, the statistics is that we're at 28% or thereabouts. So look, there's scarcity of women at the top. Combined with that scarcity is the fact that women, are performing multiple roles. They're juggling many balls. So with all the will in the world, even if you want to be supportive and helpful, sometimes you're just not able, you don't have the bandwidth to do so. So it's not a posture of women not necessarily wanting to help other women, no, or indeed other men. It's just, the women are stretched. They're few at the top. They have huge responsibility. They are role models. They want to perform. They don't want to disappoint because they don't want to shut the door to other women following. So sometimes it may look like they are not helpful. My experience has been that women support my experience, even though I've had only male supervisors, the support network that has enabled me to be successful, especially in the most critical time in my career, which was when I was, having my young children. It was the fact that I had sisters and I had support from women, my mother, and so on, that they put the infrastructure around me, because the care economy that we need in terms of that, structure did not exist in corporate Nigeria at that time. And I'm hoping now, with a lot of awareness being created around the importance of the care economy, that those structures, are improving and that women get the kind of support that they need. But those structures have been put there by women. So I wouldn't be sitting here today speaking to you if women did not enable me and did not support me to succeed. I hope I've been able to answer the question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much for that inspiring message and the question and how you answered it. That was really, really fantastic. Thank you so much to all the panelists and the moderator and the keynote speaker. Really appreciate your inspiring message. About now, we're going to hand over to Mrs. Bukola Olasoji to take over the session and also lead us to the next segment. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther Adeyanju, for that. So on this note, I'm going to invite the Vice President, Mrs. Chidi Obijesi, FCIPM, to share more light on the partnership with CIPM and WISCAR. Ma, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Bukola. It has been an exciting time sitting down and taking notes. I would go ahead without first saying thank you to Mr. President for allowing this to happen. Actually, thank you for your leadership, sir. And to say thank you to Mrs. Ayagbola for being here with us and also accepting to drive this. But in her keynote speech, she made a comment, and I'll come to that. And then to all our wonderful panelists, it's been an insightful, inspiring, and motivating session so far. And I've taken notes. My notebook here is filled up. Well, I have good news for us. Whilst Mrs. Ayagbola was speaking towards the end of her speech, she said something. She said, the question is not whether women can lead. The question now is, we have answered that question long ago. The question now is, are we building the systems and the structures? She also made a comment. She said, CIPM is well positioned to answer that question. And today, on behalf of the President and Chairman of Governing Council, on behalf of CIPM as a whole, I want to answer that question to say, yes, we are building systems. We are building structures to ensure that female members and female generally lead. How are we doing that, you may ask? That is where I'm coming to. That is the great news here, that WISCAR and CIPM have come together to form a partnership to train women, to ensure that women acquire the skill to attain executive positions, and not just executive positions, board positions. You heard Mr. Ayagbola, the WISCAR mentoring, partnering with CIPM. That is a partnership that will definitely work. And if you're interested in growing as a woman, even as a man, thank you all the men who are here. Thank you all the men. You heard that. Actually, a lot of us women are being sponsored by men, the men who understand. So if you intend to grow, if you plan to grow, if you want to grow in your career, if you want to attain that executive position, if you are tired of playing small, if you want to stop shrinking, then just watch this space, because what's coming next is WISCAR partnership with CIPM via the HR Academy, CIPM Leadership and HR Academy, to provide the platform that will give you the skills, the mentoring, the exposure, the visibility to attend that position that you want to attend. And if I were in your shoes, I'll start clapping right now, because that's great news for me. That's great news for all of us. This is something I particularly am passionate about. And we need to stop shrinking women. We need to give, we need to grow, and we need to glow intentionally. Like the president said, when women glow, organizations grow, nations are lifted, and everybody will be blessed. So why don't you come on board today? Send a mail to CIPM, check out the CIPM portal, and watch this space so you will get more detail about this partnership and this executive training. And WISCAR, they will be doing what they know how to do best, that is mentoring young women and ensuring that we increase that percentage, that rate. I like your analogy, Ms. Ayogbala, about the person at Osho, the bus stop, scrambling. I've heard that a lot. Women don't support women. And when they say that, I really sit down, I begin to think, but you just gave me a very good explanation. This space is quite small, but let's leave the spaces. Are we ready? Do we have the skills? When we are ready, we have built the skills and we are ready. Trust me, we will get the men to begin to sponsor and open up those spaces for us. They won't have any choice, will they? No, they won't. So ladies, come on board. Let's build ourselves so that we can grow and we can glow. Thank you very much, everyone. And that is my good news for you today. Please, let's do this together. Thank you. All female members of CIPM, come on board. Thank you. So we'll be launching this shortly. Watch this space. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayogbala. Thank you, Mr. President, for making this happen. Over to you, Bukola.
Thank you very much, Ma, and thank you to Women in Successful Career for that wonderful and very inspiring keynote speech. And thank you to all the panelists and our distinguished moderator. So right now we're going to go on the CIPM announcement, and this is some of the things that are happening in the institute which we want our members to be aware of. First off is the 57th Annual General Meeting and Election, which is fast approaching. We urge all members to participate in this election as it is their professional right as a CIPM member. To vote, please ensure that your subscription is paid up to 2025 and that your email address and phone number are correctly updated on your portal. For any changes or corrections to your details, either your name, your phone number, your email address, kindly send an email to subscriptions@cipmnigeria.org. And if you intend to contest or take on a leadership role, your subscription must be paid up to 2026 and you must possess an active HRPL. Also, for you to nominate a candidate for leadership role, you are required to have your subscription paid up to 2026 and also have an active HRPL. On subscriptions, payments can be made easily via the members portal, and it is quick, seamless, and very fast. For issues regarding your subscriptions, you can reach us via WhatsApp on 090-9462-5615 or email subscriptions@cipmnigeria.org. We're excited to announce the 3rd CIPM International Academic Conference in collaboration with the Department of Employment Relations and Human Resource Management of the University of Lagos. The theme is Artificial Intelligence in Academia, Industry and Government, Navigating Ethics, Innovation and Impact. The conference is scheduled to hold from Tuesday 2nd to Wednesday 3rd June 2026. Please note that the conference fees are displayed on your screen. Kindly note that there's also a call for papers, and we encourage academics, professionals, and students and industry leaders to participate. For submission for call for papers, the abstract submission fee is 10,000 naira and the full paper submission fee is 10,000 naira also. For more information, please email academic@cipmnigeria.org or call Charity on 07025709873, and we'll be happy to assist you regarding your registration for the CIPM Academic International Conference. You can now tune in to the CIPM weekly radio show, which holds every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. And this Wednesday promises to be very insightful as we'll be hosting our very own National Treasurer, Mrs. Ogochukwu Egbuonu, FCIPM, as she'll be speaking on investing in people, cost center, or competitive advantage. Please note that All CIPM members, financially active members, can now place job vacancy advert on our radio show, and it is free. Yes, that's free for all CIPM members. Kindly send your vacancy details to consultancy@cipmnigeria.org and let us help you amplify your reach. The 2026 training academic calendar is now available. We offer in-house corporate training, virtual sessions, and physical classroom learning. For further inquiries, please email learning@cipmnigeria.org or visit our website to download the full calendar. The Global Acceleration Forum will hold from 20th to 24th April 2026 at the Grand Nile, Egypt, with the theme Commanding African Growth, Leadership Capacity in a Global Economy. And we're proud to share that the President and the Chairman of the Governing Council, Malam Hamed Ladan Gobil, FCIPM FNLI, and the Registrar and Chief Executive, Ms. Oluwatoyin Naiwo, FCIPM Chartered FCIPD, will be speaking at this prestigious forum. For more information, kindly send us a WhatsApp message to 08065891640 or email us at learning@cipmnigeria.org. For organizations and individuals interested in advert placement on our website, you can send your inquiries to marketing@cipmnigeria.org. For your membership upgrade, that is if you are due for upgrade to full membership, please email us at upgradeapplications@cipmnigeria.org. There's also an accelerated upgrade option available. Please take advantage of this. To contact the Institute, you can reach our customer care line by calls 070123755, and we are also available on WhatsApp 0801012559117, or email us at contactcenter@cipmnigeria.org. So you can take advantage of the three options available via call, via WhatsApp, and via email. If you are not receiving our communications or have changed your contact details, kindly update your information by emailing subscriptions@cipmnigeria.org. We also encourage members to keep their subscriptions up to date, as active financial members have access to the CIPM welfare scheme, which provides support to beneficiaries in the event of that. You can join the CIPM communication WhatsApp group for quick updates, and this is strictly for CIPM members. Please check the chat box for the link. There's also a dedicated WhatsApp group for non-members to receive updates on our webinars and programs, and you can also check the chat for details. Don't forget the CIPM marketplace, where financial members can purchase items at discounted prices. You can also take advantage of this. So we have a lot of items that members can purchase at discounted prices on the website. It is titled CIPM Marketplace. And yes, the largest HR event in Africa is here, which is the 58th International Conference and Exhibition, also known as the CIPM EYES, hashtag CIPM EYES 2026, and it's scheduled to hold in Abuja, Nigeria. We are painting Abuja green at the Bola Ahmed International Conference Center, and the theme is repositioning for value and impact. The conference will take place from 21st to 24th September 2026. Sponsorship opportunities are available, and we encourage interested organizations and partners to take advantage of this. Kindly email us at sponsorship@cipmnigeria.org, and you can also join the dedicated WhatsApp group for conference updates purely on the 58th International Conference and Exhibition. The 2026 CIPM Inter-University Quiz Competition is ongoing, with registration open from February 16 to March 31, 2026, and winners have the opportunity to also attend the 58th International Conference and Exhibition at no cost. Your accommodation, your feeding, your transportation will be taken care of by CIPM. That is fantastic. For further inquiries, please email quizcompetition@cipmnigeria.org. The CEO, the Chief HR Officer, and HR Directors Forum will take place this July. We encourage members to invite and register their CEOs for free for those impactful events. To register your CEO, your HR directors, and officers, you can call 09057273414. Kindly note that seats are limited. Finally, you can host your next event at the Institute, be it trainees, meetings, small gatherings, get-together. To book the space, please call 08035855035. Thank you so much for listening to us, and we appreciate your continued engagement with the Institute. Right about now, I'll hand over to Bukola Olasoji to take over the session while we round up. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther, for that detailed information of our upcoming event and offerings. And on this note, I want to invite the Vice President of the CIPM, Mrs. Chidi Obijese, to give the vote of thanks. Thank you, Ma.
Okay, thank you, Bukola. Just a quick one. Thank you, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I think our time has been far spent, and we need to bring this to a quick close. But as we conclude this very inspiring event, the CIPM International Women's Days webinar, let us please carry the energy of today into our daily lives. The panelists have spoken, and let me especially thank our keynote speaker, like I've done before, Mrs. Amina Oyagbola, Mrs. Apologies, please. I had actually shut down. Our distinguished panelist, Ekemini Akpakpan, our moderator. I would also want to thank everyone that made this happen. Thank you so much for all you've done. Thank you so much for bringing this. But let's remind us, to give is to sow seeds of kindness and opportunity. And as Maya Angelou once said, when we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. To grow is to embrace change, resilience, and continuous learning. Our keynote speaker said it here. She kept learning at 65. She's still trying to learn how to use her digital, and we should all emulate that. And to glow is to shine unapologetically. We need to shine. We need to invest in ourselves. We need to radiate confidence and authenticity. Oprah Winfrey captured it beautifully when she said, "Let your light shine. Shine within you so much that it shines on someone else." Today, we have shared great insights, stories, and strategies that reminds us that empowerment is not a destination, but a journey. We keep empowering ourselves. Ladies, gentlemen on the call, all participants, over 600 of us here when we started. Let us go forth to give generously. Let us grow intentionally, and let us glow brilliantly, illuminating paths for others to follow. On behalf of CIPM, I thank every one of us. I thank our distinguished panelists and guest speakers. I thank the entire HQ team. I thank our moderator. I thank you, Bukola, for anchoring this event. Esther, every one of you, the IT that made this happen. It's been a very brilliant session. No internet hitch this time. Thank you, every one of you. Thank you, Mr. President, for approving. May we continue as CIPM to champion workplaces and communities where women, and not just women, indeed everybody, thrive, lead, and inspire others. Together, let us give, let us grow, and let us glow. Today, not just today, but always. Thank you very much, everyone. And please, let's take the nuggets we have gotten and apply them not just to our workplaces, but to ourselves, so that we can see many more women grow and glow. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a blessed day. It's been a nice time being here with you. God bless you all. At CIPM, we deliver value through people.
Thank you.
My Bukola, over to you.
President, Mrs. Chidima Obijese, FCIPM. On this note, we will wrap up this beautiful webinar session as we rise to recite the national anthem, the third stanza of the national anthem. Thank you. Nigeria shall be blessed. Thank you, God bless you all. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
I joined CIPM many years ago in 2019 as an end user, and all I wanted then was willingness and passion to learn. After my HND program and service, CIPM retained me as a cashier officer in the Department of Finance. Then from cashier, many years ago in 2019 as an end user, and all I wanted then was willingness and passion to learn. After my HND program and service, CIPM retained me as a cashier officer in the Department of Finance. Then from cashier officer to account payable manager today. This journey has been one of learning, mentorship, and continuous development. The Institute poured into me, and now I give back by guiding my younger colleagues. Because in giving, we all gain. Happy International Women's Day. Give to gain.
Happy International Women's Day. Give to gain.